Hi, welcome. So, today's workshop is about mental health and well-being during menopause, and it's also really quite relevant at the moment because we are all locked down. So that's creating quite a few additional mental challenges, to say the least, in terms of how we deal with something we never thought we'd experience in a lifetime, let alone be in a second or a third, for some of you, lockdown. So I'm really pleased that Dr. Susana is going to talk to us today. I'll let her introduce herself. So she's going to do a presentation. So that's why I said, please feel free to have a cup of tea or coffee with you, because Susana's going to speak. If you've got any questions that come up, probably, do you want them to just talk, Susana, or put it into the chat? Just to ask the question. Okay.
For me, it's okay if we have a round at the end, and if in between any questions come, I will answer them maybe during the presentation or afterwards.
Okay. So yeah, so we'll probably just, Susana will talk, and then we'll pause at appropriate bits in the presentation if there's any questions, and then questions at the end. Okay. So I'm just going to remove myself as a student. I'm going to spotlight Susana.
Okay.
Hi.
Good
morning.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
And introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I have been here already with you, but as an attendant, and I'm very happy and very grateful that I have the chance to be on the other side together with Ann today. Thank you, Ann, for the opportunity to share this great community with you. I will now share my screen. First, I want to apologize for my English. You all know that we Spanish have a terrible accent. So if anything I say is not easy to understand, just stop me and ask me to repeat. And yeah, thank you for your patience on that.
You're brilliant.
I wish my Spanish was half as good.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. So as Ann said, you will see me looking to a side because this is where I have my other screen. So automatically I will look to the text, but I will be here with you.
Sorry, I'm actually going to mute everyone because there's a little bit of a reverb. So if anybody wants to ask a question, you just need to unmute yourself to talk. Okay.
Right.
Just so it's clear for everyone and there's no distraction. So if you want to ask a question, just unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on. So this is about menopause and well-being. And yeah, for me, it was a challenge not to overlap other topics that has been dealt with in these workshops, no, because it has to be with the medical condition menopause, it has to be with nutrition, it has to be with physics, but I will try to focus on the psychological effects of the menopause in our lives and how this change impacts our daily life and our mental health. That's why we decided to call this how to use the imposed change to achieve the desired change, because menopause as the lockdown implies a lot of imposed change. Many things will happen that we don't desire, but they are happening. But we have to connect with ourselves in a way that we are aware of those changes that will happen from alone, let's say, and be aware of how much we indeed can make changes that are under our control. Many things are not under our control, but many others are. And sometimes when we experience many things that are not under our control, we tend to forget how many still are under our control. So yes, I'm Spanish. I'm located in Lisbon. I live here already 6 years. And my background is as a general practitioner. I've worked as a medical doctor for several years, but then I left the medical practice to do a job as a medical advisor. And about 10 years ago, I realized how much I was missing dealing with patients. So I got education in psychology to become a psychotherapist, which I am now. And as I said, based in Lisbon, but working also a lot online for Spanish speaking patients mainly. So yeah, there is the known word menopause, but I also like the Greek term climateric. And when I went to look for the definition of this, I found that this is considered to be a critical stage or decisive point, a turning point, with some great changes supposed to take place. This happens every 7th or 9th year. And when I thought of this definition, a word came to my mind, which is adolescence, right? There is a point when you are, twice 7, 14, where there is a turning point related to hormonal change, where your body changes, where your identity is to be defined, when you experience imposed changes in your psychos and in your body. And this definition perfectly matches adolescence. But indeed, climateric doesn't mean adolescence. It does mean menopause. But that's why we can consider the menopause as the second adolescence, although we will see which are the differences. But both are imposed hormonal changes. And for us women, the adolescence is a time where we become being perceived as reproductive people. And yeah, we are seen by the society and by our people around differently. And especially in some cultures, it's the time where a girl isn't a girl anymore and she moves physically from one part of the house to the other. And in some cultures, they are still covered when they get their menstruation and so on. And this period somehow defines half of the life of the women until the menopause comes. But this is not only the small change of the menopause, small in terms of time. The World Health Organization defines the perimenopause as a period that can last up to 8 years preceding the menopause and then 1 year after. That means that we have to deal with changes through 10 years. Carmen told us the other day that the menopause takes up to a third of the life of a woman as a steady state. But the change itself can take up to 10 years, 10 years where you experience odd things that you have to deal with. So I have to recall now the nice poem of Sarah in the last workshop. And yeah, this comes in a period just when you thought it was safe to go out. No? And suddenly it's not safe anymore because your brain won't talk to your body and your body is ignoring your brain. But as Sarah reminded us last month, the mojo is not so far away and you can still join the superwoman race. And this is something we are doing every month in these workshops. No? The first thing I would like to highlight today is the importance of undoing. I don't know if the concept says something to you, but when you practice yoga, in all sports, but I think in yoga is more remarkable, you don't just do an asana and then drop your body back to the relaxed position. You also have to undo the asana. This woman here, she won't, when she's finished with the time of the asana, and Anne, correct me if I'm wrong, she won't just drop her leg. She will carefully undo the position. And this is very important. I will show you now a video of a tradition that I love in Catalonia. Let me see. Yeah, I have it here. Mm-hmm. Can take a while. Yeah. This is a human castle. These are women building a tower. And this is a Catalan tradition that I love. But what I want to show you is pay attention how they climb. And how they are building something. But like in yoga, when they finish, this is the very top climbing up. When they finish, they have to undo the tower. And this is the most difficult part. They have to be exactly as concentrated and keep exactly as strong as they did for building the tower. Undoing it is more difficult. They are more tired. They have been holding for a long while, but they have to do it as well as they did before, or even better, because this part is more dangerous. And they cannot just let them down. They are doing it with a technique. Until the very last moment, they have to be concentrated and they have to do it properly. You see, they don't just drop down. Why did I bring this example? Because life is the same. We are told that we have to escalate and get things done, and achieve things and gather material possessions and whatever until we come to our midlife, and in sometimes or often a midlife crisis, because we realize there is no point in gathering things together or achieving things, and that we are somehow going down the hill. And that is as important and climbing up. We cannot just let it be. We have to consciously undo things to prepare the next years. And I especially like this book from a Swedish woman with a very, let's say, dark title, but very important. The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. This woman tells us how to prepare for dying. I think the topic is not nice to hear, but yes, when we reach the half of our life, we are facing the second half that leads us to death, and this is not bad. This is just a fact. So be prepared for that and make your life simple. This is one of the things that I would like to bring you to think about today. Make your life as simple as you can, because as those women in the tower, you will be tired when you get to the top of the tower. But you have to undo it properly. So be sure you do it by prescinding that, let away what you don't need and keep only the essential. And even the older, the tired you get, the more you need to keep only the essential. So I recommend this book. I really liked it, how to make your life more simple and to keep your energy for the important things. So we can talk about the psychological experience of being in the menopause, the perimenopause, the premenopause, and the menopause. And usually when we think of the psychological impact of it, we think of ourselves, no, as if we were isolated, but we are not. The menopause is, surprisingly or not, influenced by many facts. And it is a politic concept, it's a cultural and family concept, and of course it's a personal concept. It is a political issue because it is a health issue. And maybe you have not think of it so consciousness, but when one deals with mental health, and not only, but especially mental health, but health in general, you realize that the definition of health and illness is a social construct. And menopause has been seen as a neurosis by Freud. So the way we experience it is pretty much influenced by how our environment perceives it and how are the messages that we get about menopause and our condition from the people around us, from the culture, from the news, from the films, everything. And yeah, be aware that for many, many years, this has been seen as a deficiency, as a neurosis, as a sin. There was a book not so many years ago, Everything You Wanted to Know About Sex. You can imagine with this title that this was a bestseller. And the guy, the nice guy that wrote this, said that the women in their menopause are not really a man, but no longer a functional woman. They have outlived their usefulness as human beings. These are the nice things that we have to read and hear about women when they reach menopause. And I wonder, really? Do we have to feel ourselves like this? No, we have to develop resources, because even if we are in Europe and thinking that we are not influenced by this concept, we are. We see how women become invisible and useless as characters in a movie, as political figures, as social relevant persons when they get old. This is, with the time, this is happening less and less, but it is still happening. We don't have as old women the same relevance as all men have, no? So that's why we have to connect with ourselves, with the genderless child that we once were. We cannot say we are genderless anymore because gender is a culture imposition, and we all experience it, and the way we dress or the choices we do have a very high gender and cultural influence. But we can remember that once we were children, not worrying about gender, but just enjoying what we would like to enjoy, dressing up the way we wanted to dress up, appearing the way we wanted to appear. And I invite you to reconnect with this genuine idea of ourselves, this very animal and primitive idea of ourselves, genderless. And then we have to take the chance to define which is our internal voice and separate it for the voices we have been interiorizing that we can hear in our heads as a matter of fact, but maybe we have just adopted it. And the same we have adopted it, we can reject it. And this is part of the undoing. See what you really need, see what is really genuine for you, and discard the rest, and keep only what is useful and genuine for you. Yeah, menopause has also to do with culture and attitude. And it has been seen that depending on whether midlife represents in your culture a positive or a negative fact, you will experience menopause as positive or negative. Women who have adopted negative attitudes towards the menopause in general have more symptoms because, right, the symptoms, as we have learned, are pretty much related with hormonal facts that happen, they do happen, but the way we experience it has a pretty heavy influence depending on the positive or negative connotation that we do with them. And for example, in cultures like Nigeria, when women are asked about their concerns regarding menopause, they almost 100% answer that they are concerned about how their husband will feel about them. So how the others will feel about us when we are in the menopause is also important for our well-being. That's why I propose you that you activate your net and get surrounded from people that are experiencing the same period as you are. This can be being a little bit sectarian, but I think it helps. It helps because the group itself has a therapeutic value. And the same way the adolescents gather together to feel safe, we have the right to have a conversation, a dialogue with people who are experiencing the same period of life that we are, or people that are aware of the importance of those changes. And this will reinforce us. Of course, another resource is cultivating also other interests. And this can be balanced. Focus in your interest, your current interest, and be open for others. Also, the personal history defines the attitude of the woman towards menopause. For some women that have been worried about not getting pregnant due to infertility, the menopause can be a release. They don't have to try anymore. Or they can be even more frustrated because the chances are finished. For those women that were avoiding getting pregnant because their culture wanted them to have more and more children, stopping the possibility to get more children can also be a release. And we have learned that how you experience that also defines your experience of the physical symptoms. Those women, for example, those with infertility would have fewer hot flashes. Also, the sexual life is influenced by menopause and vice versa. The way your physical and mental health is and has been, your life events, your socio-cultural issues, your relationship, and the sexual health of your partner will influence your sexual response. Again, many things that are not under your control, but again, many things that are under your control. So connect with those that are under your control, and for that, silence the noise around you, reflect, and find the own meaning of those changes for you. You don't need to overtake the cultural meaning of those changes. You have to find the meaning of those changes for yourself. What does it mean for me, the menopause? Is this a release? Is this a problem? Is this a change? What do I do with that? And if needed, request practical and emotional support. Practical meaning, help me to do this or help me to do that. And emotional can be talking to a friend, or as we have seen in Sarah's poem, gather a nice group. Also, when menopause comes, we may be facing simultaneously other crises in our surrounding, like our own midlife crisis, not only the menopause, but the fact of having certain age, the midlife crisis of the partner. If you have children, you can both have the emptiness syndrome or still a late breathing with small children at that age that you are already tired. And of course, if you have a professional consolidation at that age, that's nice, but you can be at this age easily also professionally overloaded. Also, due to your age, considering your probably parents' age, you can be facing the mourning of your parents, or their decline, or be taking care of them. And this can all come together, taking care of the parents with a late breathing, with a professional overload. So midlife time can be really challenging. Which resources you should to develop to face this? First, you have to change the communication and talk out of yourself. This is very important because, as I said, your crisis can be concomitant, can come together with other people's crisis around yourself. And it is very easy to talk in a way that you are blaming the others or the others feel blame. And this is not a good way of requesting help or support. When I say about talking out of yourself and putting yourself in the focus of the communication, I mean that you shouldn't assume others people expectations or make a mind reading or expect mind reading from them. You should tell them how you feel. And there is a big difference between saying, you make me feel tired or angry, or just saying, I'm tired. When we say the things, the facts, when we express out of ourselves, there is not conflict. If I say, air conditioning is too high, turn it off, the other person can feel attacked. But if I say, it's hot for me, nobody can argue with me. This is the change. The difference between saying, give me your water, or I'm thirsty. If I request other people water, they can be offended. They will get a defensive position. If I just express, I'm thirsty, nobody will discuss. I'm thirsty, I'm tired, I need this, I feel that. This is the way we should express. Maybe the others are not used to that because people are used to get into arguments and not just to listen empathetic to the other people's emotions. But I propose you to do so. When you feel something, when you need something, just say it from yourself. Not requesting anything from the others or blaming them, but just saying, it's too hot for me here, it's too cold for me here, I'm thirsty, I'm tired, I'm not feeling well about what you are saying, which is not the same that what you are saying is making me feel bad. And this is the small difference. Think of that. Also, take the time for mourning. This can already be a time where you lose things. You can lose part of your health. You can see how your parents or your relatives lose their health or they decline, or even you can lose parents or other relatives, and you need to take time for the mourning, although you can be, as we have seen, overloaded by many other things. Say no, at least once a day. This can sound silly, but it is strange, no? If during a whole day, all the proposals we get are okay for us. We will probably get proposals during the whole day where we have at least one chance to say no. Try to say no at least once a day. And Carmen will laugh now because I have a machine to say no.
No. No. For the last time, no.
We all need this. Keep this in the pocket physically or mentally, and at least once a day, say no. You will always have the chance to regret and say yes. This is much more easy than the other way around. So don't be angry to people, but yeah, politely say no, or at least maybe not, or let me think of it, maybe I do it, but maybe not, and leave that door open to say no at least once a day. And of course, set limits, because if not, you will be very tired. Now we come with which is more obvious, no? The personal changes and challenges that we have also gone through in other workshops. We see that the fat proportion changes, and there is a redistribution of it. We may gain weight, although if we do the right nutrition, as we have learned, this can be avoided. And the body hair and the hair change. And we know, although we may not so directly experience it, that we make have a loss of bones, osteoporosis, and an increased cardiovascular risk. And yeah, somehow, really, it changes. We can experience not feeling such women that we were before, no? Or not those young, attractive women that we were before. We may also feel vasomotor symptoms, the very known hot flashes and the night sweats. We can experience headaches, dryness of the vagina, of the skin, tiredness for sure, erratic and painful menstrual cycles, dyspareunia, which is the pain in the sexual relations, and urinary incontinence. Everything very nice. Everything very disturbing for our psychological well-being. And this can get under control. These are things that just happen. We have seen that they happen in a different degree depending on our attitude, but we cannot deny that they do exist because the hormonal and the physical changes happen. But what can we bring under our control? To rest, as I said, to say no. To plan our days flexibly. This is very important because the world has imposed us a working week. And then we have the Lord's Day on Sunday to rest. And this can be very silly because maybe that you on Sunday or like today on Saturday feel like doing something because you don't have your menstruation, because you don't have headache, because you have had a good night's sleep. And then you have to rest on Sunday because it is Lord's Day. No, if possible, those of you who have the possibility to plan flexibly, make an agenda the way that you can rest the Ladies' Day. Rest the days you need to rest, not the Lord's Day, the imposed days of the society. Maybe you don't need to rest on Sunday, but you have had a bad night on Monday and you need to rest on Tuesday or to take it easy. Think of that. I know this is not so easy, but maybe there are more chances than you think to plan your agenda in a way that if you have a bad night, or if you have a headache, or if you feel tired, you can do that day less and do more the other day. Feel flexible about that, and don't get stuck into the imposed Lord's Day rest and regular week Monday to Friday. Maybe you have room, you have place to schedule differently. Then when it comes to mental health, there are things that can be more disturbing, no? Of course, I have written in orange, mood swings and irritability, memory and concentration loss, feeling like crying with no reason, low libido, and then more important symptoms like anxiety, insomnia, depression, or even psychotic disorders. This is a controversial area. Of course, the mood swings and irritability can, but consider all that we have seen that can happen in the midlife period of a life. Does this all come from menopause? Or if you have adolescent children or a professional overload or your partner's midlife crisis or whatever, does it only come from your hormones or you have the right to have irritability? Memory and concentration loss, okay, it can be also influenced by the hormones, but maybe if you rest enough, you wouldn't experience it in a remarkable way. And many other things. So yeah, there is facts, there are things that happen, but many others are in the limit if they are influenced by menopause alone, or they have to do with the environment and the moment we are all living when we are on our 50s. No, when it comes to anxiety, it has been discussed if there are more incidents of anxiety during the menopause or not. And the last studies I've read cannot find a direct relationship. They see many other confounding factors that could explain the anxiety. I'm more worried about insomnia, because insomnia, for me, resting is one of the key factors for a good mental health. So yeah, be sure that you get a good rest night. There are indeed studies that say that mental health problems between 41 and 50 are probably not directly related to the menopausal transition, but they appear at that period. These are good news, because that means that changing what you can change in your life, you cannot change completely your hormonal status, although we have seen that you can rebalance it. But certainly, apart from rebalancing your hormonal status, you can change many other things on your life and then not be at a special risk of suffering from mental health problems because you are in your menopause. So as resources, connect with it all, experience what you have to experience, the way it is about you, not the way it should be. See how it is for you. Found your own coping strategies, and for that, join groups where the topics are talked and where you can learn more and get more resources, because information is itself a resource already. Exercise, because we have seen that that can only help. Get medical advice if you feel you need it, and consider psychotherapy in case you see it can help. Why are we talking about this here? Why yoga has it all? Yeah, we have talked about all these resources. And if you think of yoga, this is a place where you can really find a space to hear your genuine voice, to set limits, to feel the limits of your body, to take a time for you. It's a kind of a sport. It allows changes and accompany changes, brings you coping strategies. You make part of a group. Even if you are sitting alone at home, you are part of a group. You get activated, you activate a net. You have the chance to listen to yourself, to find a meaning to the things that are happening. You have the place to reflect, and you get the silence and the connection, and maybe the rest that you need. Specifically, yoga has been seen as a very cost-effective resource for mental health during the menopause period, and it provides a lifelong behavioral skill and enables self-efficacy and self-confidence. And these are 2 points that will bring us to connect which is under our control, and will help us to say no and to plan our agendas the way we need it to have. And of course, it has a lot of additional positive effects. For those interested in the effects of yoga during the menopausal transition, here you have some bibliography, and I will share with you the articles. So if I would have to summarize for well-being 3 advices, I will name 3 very cost-effective strategies. First, talk nicely to yourself. If you are tired, tell yourself you need to rest. And don't blame yourself for being tired, or for being irritable, or labil, or whatever. Talk nicely to yourself. You deserve it. Meet the right people. This helps a lot to talk nicely to yourself. Don't meet the author of the book that means that menopausal women are not functional human beings anymore. These are not the kinds of guys we want to have around. And at this part of our life, we have the control. When you are an adolescent, maybe some companies are imposed because popular guy is the popular guy, and so on. Now we are old enough and wise enough to choose the people we want to meet. And again, thinking on undoing, you have the right to dispresent people. Maybe because I've moved a couple of times, I always took the chance to keep those relationships which were valuable for me, and to let others go. Let people go. There are people that are not good for you anymore. And this is not always losing. Losing some things is sometimes winning space, winning silence, winning resources. So meet only the right people. You have the right to do so. And finally, because I love it, stay hydrated. There is nothing cheaper and more effective than water, inside and outside, to feel well. If you are hydrated, you will prevent many of the physical symptoms that we have described, or at least they will be milder. Stay hydrated. Think of drinking water, what I haven't done for a while. And now with the lockdown, you have the perfect opportunity, because if you need to go to the toilet every hour, it's not a problem. So stay hydrated. And remember, this change is like adolescence, but it is much better. I will show why. You remember? Remember fried green tomatoes? This menopausal woman trying to find a park, a place to park. These were the adolescents. And then she realizes, a ver, I want to stop it. Yeah, right. Okay. Sorry, I am still here in the video. Right. 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 I lost the point now. Here we are. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. The lady realized that she may have the same problems as the adolescents, in this case, finding a park, a place to park. But as she says, she's older and she's full insurance. That means that you may have the same problems and the same changes and the same disturbances, but you are now wiser, stronger, and certainly have much more resources than you had when you were an adolescent. That's why you can now make out of those imposed changes, you can make out of them the changes you want to have for the second half of your life. So that was it from my side. Thank you for sharing this while with me, and yeah, feel free to contact me whenever you want. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you very much, Susana. That was really interesting. Thank you. So I hope you all found that presentation. If anyone got any questions? I see there's a few clapping going on. If anyone's got any questions or anything they want to ask, then please just ask away. Unmute yourself and ask any questions that you may have.
I have one. Where do you get that machine that says no?
in I think it was in Alehop.
In
Alehop, you know those this shop where they sell any kind of nonsense. Alehop,
okay.
with a cow in the window.
Oh, okay. I thought it was lovely, but I thought the whole presentation was fabulous. I wish I'd had that when I was 10 years younger. But it explains so much of the thinking around it. So that was a fabulous presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No.
Thank you. Yes, I'm definitely going to go and buy one of those no things, and I'm going to send one to Jill as well. Jill, that's going to be your birthday present.
Yeah.
I so need one of those. I so need one.
Oh, fabulous.
Susana, may I ask you something?
Of course.
First, I really loved your presentation. Amazing.
Thank you.
Really, really nice. And you talked about yoga and some other strategies. Do you know if there is some data, some evidence about meditation, or to have this behavior to meditate? Is there something? No?
Yeah, indeed. There are some articles that specifically, and knows more about this than me, but that specifically show the value of some of the exercise or attitudes in yoga toward the symptoms. And yes, because the breathing is one of the few entrances we have to the autonomous nervous system. If we can regulate our breathing and if we can calm down, many of the symptoms will also be released. And especially because meditation has to do with breathing. This is an entry to our nervous system, and also because it creates the silence we talked about, to reflect, to really connect, and to get out of the noise of these cultural impositions, of this family crisis, of the partner's crisis, the adolescence crisis, and to connect with ourselves, because the secret is it, no? Not to be overloaded with external stimulus, apart from our body stimulus, but to connect with ourselves and what we need. And you really can do it through meditation. What do you need? What do you want? And how to achieve it? Give yourself the space to find out. And this could be meditation and yoga, of course.
Probably this is the hardest step, really, to request something, to not manage everything, to request some time for ourselves, right?
Yeah. If you get that, let's say that if you say I'm going to take half an hour for myself for nothing, that can be difficult to tell to yourself and to the others. And yoga is somehow the perfect excuse to be with yourself, and you have the structure to do it properly, and not to let your mind flow away uselessness. No, so take that time for yourself, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to do a couple of different breathing strategies today. One which I haven't done with any of you before. We're going to do a box breathing, which is a good one for anxiety. And then we're going to do some of our kind of what I call my normal breathing, because as Susana said, meditation is very much a really good time to just quieten the mind and kind of, I often say that meditation is a bit like defragging your mind. So back in the old days when all the computers were Windows or DOS computers before Macs and everything, and sometimes either you or somebody, if it was a company computer, somebody in IT you'd press this button called defrag, because it would try to create space on your computer, and you press defrag, and if you hadn't done it for ages, it could take you all day for your computer to defrag, and it would start off with all these coloured lines all over the place, and it would fill the screen. And then by the end of the defragging, all the lines were aligned and your computer suddenly said, I've got more memory. And I always think meditation is a little bit like defragging your brain. That's just such a really, but the trouble is you have to be old enough to know what defragging is to then get the analogy. If you ask a 20-year-old, they'd be like, what are you on about? But it's
all right, Anne, we know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But it's such a good way of thinking about it in terms of it's trying to create that space. And the thing with meditation is, I mean, the trouble is these days people try to make money out of everything. So people try to make money out of meditation. So they create apps and they do this and they say that to meditate, you have to be able to do this, you have to be able to do the other. But actually, and then the trouble is you can spend half an hour browsing through, right, which app shall I download? What meditation shall I do? When actually the easiest way to meditate is just to sit and watch your breath. And it doesn't cost you anything. And you can do it for 1 minute or 5 minutes or for an hour, however long you want. And that is just the best way to do it, because you're getting that stillness. So you're not downloading something where somebody's talking and then partway through you go, God, that voice is really annoying me. I really don't like that tone of voice, or I don't like, what are they on about? The colour blue washing over me. I'm not blue, you know. And sometimes you can end up like almost arguing with the meditation. I know I have done in the past. And that's why a lot of things, it's about being simple and just bringing it back to create that space. So, yeah.
Maybe I would like to tell you a medical fact that you may not know about breathing. You know, we have two, let's say, two nervous system. The central nervous system, which is voluntary. We say, I want to move this hand, I want to close my eyes, and we decide it. And then we have the autonomous nervous system that goes from alone. That means we don't decide to breathe, or our heart beats from alone, or we make the digestion. There are some muscles that we cannot move voluntarily. Our stomach will move alone. Our heart will beat alone. The diaphragm, the muscle for the breathing, can be both activated by the autonomous nervous system, but also voluntarily. That's why the breathing is the only gate we have from our central nervous system to our autonomous nervous system. And because it is all interrelated, once you put your focus in the breathing, which is both autonomous, because even if you don't want to breathe earlier or later, you will breathe from alone. But you can also decide to calm down your breathing, to watch it, and also to calm it down. And through that gate, you can influence the rest of the autonomous nervous system that you can by no other means influence consciously. So breathing is very important because it makes the joining point between conscious and unconscious somehow. And this is a great tool. Breathing is very important. I don't know if I explained myself with my English clearly enough.
Excellent. Anyone got any other questions? Jackie?
Hi, I just wanted to say that was really interesting. I think we all really enjoyed that. And I thought that the link to adolescence was really interesting. It's something I'd never thought about. It's like another adolescence or an opposite effect. And certainly speaking for myself, the importance of going through the menopause or the perimenopause and having adolescent children at the same time. And I think adolescence seems to go on forever sometimes, especially these days, because kids don't leave home or they come back again. And you know, it's pretty hard for a lot of people. And to have those two things together is like a double whammy. So that was one thing. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is I think women seem to suffer from a terrible guilt all the time. You can't get it right. You can't do all the things right. You feel like you're failing at everything all the time. And I think that's I don't know if that's anything to do with any of this, but it seems to get worse when you get to that sort of age. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, I didn't talk about that, but guilt. Yeah, when you are overloaded, the feeling that it is your fault, that you should be able to achieve it all. No, and if you don't, it's your fault. And no, maybe just that you are just overloaded, and you have the right to say no and set limits without feeling guilty, for sure.
I was wondering, I mean, all joking apart, with the little no machine, I was sitting here thinking, why do we find it so difficult to say no? And I think that is absolutely it. It's because you just get an overwhelming sense of feeling guilty that you're letting people down if you say no to something.
Yeah.
rather than thinking, actually, is it more beneficial for me to say no because that will do me some good, and the guilt overrides that, and you end up committing to something that actually you just think, oh, I wish I just hadn't committed to this at all.
Yeah, I often say that especially women, everybody, but especially women, we signed kind of contract when we start a family. We sign a kind of contract that only we know, and that says, I will take care of all your necessities, and somehow you will take care of mine. But the counterpart don't know about this contract.
I know that.
So you take care of other people's needs and other people's requests, and nobody is aware that they should take care of you. And I think the midlife crisis, the menopause, is a good time to destroy that contract and make a contract with ourselves. I will take care of my needs, and you should take care of yours. We are all adults. Unless you have small children, for the rest of the world, you don't have a contract to take care of them because they are not aware that they have to take care of you. And at the end, you will be angry to them in a certain way. You will be doing things and expecting something. Indeed, we do expect something in return, at least recognition or consideration. And if you don't get it, you get angry. And the person doesn't understand why you are so angry. You always wanted to do so. Why are you so angry?
So, and you're absolutely right about that, actually. And I'm thinking, so is the best, how do you then start having those conversations? Because some of it sounds like it needs expressing, and you need to explain that to people so they can then understand you. And it's how you start having those conversations, because they are clearly going to come right out the blue from, my children are 19 and 16. So they're at that age now where I am starting to, but need to do it in a way that doesn't worry them, I suppose.
Yeah, it's not easy. One idea is this: speaking from yourself. No, don't telling the others that they are guilty also for anything, but saying,
no.
I'm tired. I need this, and that they realize that you are connecting and making yourself responsible for your feelings. They will invite them somehow to make themselves also responsible for their feelings and our needs. And this is a good position.
It's making them see you not just as mum, that you're actually a person in your own right, rather than you're not there just for them. There is other stuff going on as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very true, because I think as well, it's you almost have to become a different person, don't you? Because you've spent quite a long part of your lifetime being all things to all people, and taking everything on wholeheartedly, and like I said, with this backdrop of guilt that if you don't, then you've somehow failed. But then when you come to this point in your time where you're thinking, dear God, I just can't sustain this, you almost have to reinvent yourself and portray a new sort of version of yourself to your family, to your closest friends, and at the same time feeling quite selfish about doing it. But it can only come from you. Like Susana said, it is very much acknowledging where that, those needs are. Because it's really, if you've never practiced acknowledging your own needs, it's very difficult to try and find how to do that. You've got to almost learn a different skill, which I think so many of us do struggle with. Yeah, no, it's been invaluable. Thank you, Susana. Really
thank you.
Excellent. Okay. So if no one's got any more questions, we'll just have 5 minutes, just a quick toilet break. So it's 10:30, so 10:35, back on our yoga mats. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. See you in 5 minutes.
See you.
Going. Okay. If anybody needs me, I do have a screen here, so you can pop something in the chat if you lose me or something. Okay. As I said, we're going to start, because we've been talking about the mind, we're going to start with some meditation. And we're going to do a meditation practice that, well, it's not really a meditation practice per se. It's a breathing practice to help with anxiety. But it also, obviously, by the very fact that it helps anxiety, really helps to calm us. And it's called box breath or square breath, because you're going to imagine that you're breathing in a square. So we're going to breathe in, then we hold the breath, then we breathe out, then we hold the breath. So there's 4 parts to this breath. I haven't been drinking enough water. So there's 4 parts to the breath. And we breathe, and we have a count of 4. It's very much a 4-4-4 thing. We count for 4, so we breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, hold it for 4. And we're going to do this 4 times. So, yes, everyone's back. So just find a nice, comfortable seated position. If it's comfortable for you to sit cross-legged, do. And you might want to sit on a cushion or pillow or block or something if that makes it a little bit more comfortable. And then just close the eyes and breathe. So let's start off by just taking a few gentle breaths in and out of the nose. Just allowing yourself to come to your mat. And doing a little body scan. Noticing how the mind is, noticing how the body is. Okay, and then we're going to start our box breath. So think about the square as you're breathing. So each part of the breath is a side of the square. So sorry, I forgot to say we're breathing in and out of the nose as well. So let's breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. And then just allow your breath to return back to a normal breathing. And just notice how the mind and how the breath is. And then we're just going to sit and watch the breath. So I'm not going to talk while we do this because we're going to try to create stillness. Stillness in the mind, stillness in the body.
So your mind will wander. That's completely natural. But what we just do as the mind wanders off is just keep bringing it back to the breath. And some days it's easier than others. So just sit and watch the breath flowing in and out of the body. And then gently bringing your awareness back into your mind. Just noticing how it feels after that sitting. Maybe the mind kept wandering and you didn't manage to rest it. And maybe you could watch the breath for most of the time. But remember, when we do this, it's not about judging ourselves. It's not about trying to get that perfect score. It's just about allowing ourselves that time to sit, to observe the breath, and to just be. And we can just do this at any time during the day when we feel we need a bit of space. We just did 5 minutes then. So you can always find the time to just block everything out. Set the timer on your phone for 5 minutes and just connect with the breath. Find that space. And then bringing the hands together in front of the heart center. And let's set ourselves a little intention for our practice today. Let's think about showing ourselves kindness. Let's love our bodies completely as they are today. Not as we want them to be in the future or not as they were. But love every centimetre of it as it sits here today. Love how it moves, how it wobbles, how it wrinkles. Love how it's travelled all the way through your life up until this point, and how it's going to be with you as you continue to travel. And always take the time to show it some love and some care. So as we move through our practice, always do it with love for yourself, with compassion. Never trying to be anything else but you. And then rubbing the hands together, placing the palms over the eyes, gently opening the eyes, and slowly bringing the hands back down to the heart center. Namaste. So let's come up onto our knees and start to move a little bit. If you've got any yoga blocks, if you happen, or hardback books, if you happen to have 2 of a similar size, you can place those towards the front of your mat because they're going to be an option to use in downward dog and some of the moves. But if you don't have them, don't worry. So let's start on all fours with the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees are underneath the hips. And we're going to pull the navel in. And we're linking with our breath. So we're going to breathe in and out of our nose. And let's breathe in as we hollow the spine and look up. Breathe out as we arch the spine and drop the head. Breathe in as we hollow and look up. Breathe out as we arch and drop the head. And just continue to flow from one direction to the other, finding your body's rhythm. So today is going to be quite a gentle, slow flow. We're not going to be doing any poses that are particularly challenging. Some of them might create a bit of a stretch, but we're not going to be creating pretzels out of our bodies today. We're just going to move it with care and compassion. So the next time the spine is arched, drop the bottom back towards the heels in child's pose. And just stay here for a couple of breaths. Connect with yourself. Allow the breath to flow. We really want to focus on the breath today. The breath helps us in so many ways, creating space, creating strength and resilience. And then having the arms out in front, but placing the hands down on the mat. We're going to breathe in and we're going to come forward into a kind of bit of a plank. Flowing forward, breathing out, dropping back down. So breathe in as we flow forwards. Breathe out as we come back. And continue with your pace of breath. Mobilizing the body. And then the next time we're back in child's pose, just allow the hands to walk to the left side. So we're getting a lovely stretch all down the right side of the body. And really feel with each out breath, we're breathing out all the tension. And then bring the hands back to center and take them over to the other side. Allow a nice stretch all down the left side of the body. And then coming back up onto all fours, we're then going to come into puppy pose or melting heart pose. So keeping the knees above the hips, stretch the arms out in front and allow the chest to come down towards the mat. So either the forehead's resting on the mat or the chin is, but keep the hips stacked above the bottom so it's not a child's pose. And we're creating quite a back bend. So we're just trying to get the chest down towards the floor. This is often called melting heart pose because we're trying to allow our heart to open and melt towards the ground. It can also be a bit of a crush your nose pose as well. But just try not to crush it, try to breathe. Take a couple more breaths. And then we're going to come back up onto all fours. And then let's move into the downward dog. First, let me just take my top. So removing any tops if you want, because we're going to start to move. So hands on the mat, turn the toes under, lift the hips up. So for the first downward dog, we're going to let the heels drop from side to side. Just move the body intuitively. Move it as it feels it needs to move and lengthen. If you have yoga blocks or you've got a couple of books, you can always place your hands on those to create a bit more space. And maybe have the legs a little bit wider than normal downward dog so that we're really getting that space. Today's flow is all about creating space. We need to find that space in the mind, find that space in the body. Pushing the head towards the knees, pushing the chest towards the thighs to open the front body. And then we're going to release into the hips. So we're going to raise the right leg and take it to the outside of the right hand. Let the left knee drop down. And we're just going to stay here. If we've got blocks, you might want to place your hands on the blocks, or you just have your hands on the mat. And we really allow this nice opening into the hip. So feel the left hip is dropping down towards the mat. And then we're going to do a little flow of a twist. So we're going to reach the right arm up to point the fingers up towards the sky. And then bring the hand back down. Reach it up. So we're really opening the chest and flow the hand back down. In time with our breath. So we're opening and bringing the hand down. Reaching up. Doing one more. And then taking that knee back, coming back onto all fours. Let's do the other side. So we're going to take the left leg forward. So start off by allowing that right hip to open towards the ground. Just might feel sometimes when you're in this, you just want to move slightly to find that space. And making sure the right knee is on the mat. And then we're going to flow. So let's raise the left arm up. And then bring it back down. Reaching it up. And down. And just continuing with your breath as we're reaching up. Doing one more. And then bringing that knee back. So we're coming back onto all fours. Let's turn the toes under, coming back into our downward dog. Taking a few breaths in downward dog. Maybe you might want to bend the knees a little to really release the spine. Maybe you want to move the upper body from side to side. Just move intuitively, flow into it. But keep that breath flowing. And then let's look towards the front of the mat. And we're going to walk the feet towards the front of the mat. Have the feet about hip width apart, bend the knees, hold on to our elbows. And let's just gently sway from side to side. Allowing the head to hang. Belly's resting on the thighs. So allowing that spine to release, allowing the hamstrings to release. And then releasing the hands down towards the ground. We're going to come up to a halfway hold. So either we come up onto our fingertips, lengthening the spine, looking forward, or if the hamstrings are feeling a little bit tight, you might have the hands coming up on the shins as we look forward and lengthen. And then we fold back forward to dangle. And then we breathe and look up and lengthen either on fingertips or on shins. Breathe out, fold forwards. Breathing in, looking up and lengthening. Breathing out, folding forwards. We'll do 2 more. Breathing in, looking up and lengthening. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathing in, looking up and lengthening. And then breathing out and folding forwards. And then with soft knees, we're gently going to restack that spine vertebra by vertebra. The head is the last thing that comes up as we just slowly uncurl the spine. And then uncurl the chin from the chest. Reaching the arms up, we're going to interlock the fingers and have a nice lean over to one side. We're going to come back to center, leaning over to the other side. Coming back to center, just reaching up. Let's create some space in the side body. Maybe just wriggle gently from side to side. And then release the arms down by the side of the body. Let's just tuck the tailbone under to make sure we're nicely neutral. Roll the shoulders. And then just allow the arms to be down by the side of the body and just feel the connection with the earth. So maybe close the eyes for a moment and just see where our weight is in our feet. Is it in our heels or is it in our toes? Feel the weight is through the balls of our feet. So feel that ground, feel that connection with the earth. That's what roots us. And feel that we're lifting up from our feet. We're lifting up out of our hip bones and the crown of the head is lengthening all the way up towards the sky. And observe the breath as we breathe in and out of our nose. And then we're going to do a gentle flowing sun salutation. So let's breathe in, reach up, look up at the hands. Breathing out, hinging forward, folding forwards, bending the knees if we need to. And then we breathe in, look up and lengthen either hands on the floor or on the shins. Breathing out, folding forwards, placing the hands on the mat and stepping the feet to the back of the mat. And then we drop onto the knees. And we lower the chest all the way down towards the ground. Hands are underneath the armpits as we do a little back bend as we come up into baby cobra. And then we turn the toes under, lift the hips up, coming into our downward dog, downward facing dog. So just finding that feet position, maybe bringing the feet forward a few centimeters, creating that perfect upside down V. Feel the hands are rooted. So think about our foundations. It's our foundations that keep us strong. So the fingers are spread. There's no gaps underneath the hand, between the hand and the mat. And feel we're pushing away from the palm all the way up towards the armpits. And then all the way up towards the hip crease as we lengthen that spine. We keep the navel tucked in as we just allow the breath to flow. We breathe gently. And then let's breathe in, look towards the front of the mat, stepping the feet to the front. We look up and lengthen. We breathe out and fold forwards. Breathing in, reaching the arms up and down. And again, breathe in, reach up, look up at the hands. Breathing out, hinging forward, bending the knees as we allow the hands to come down towards the ground. Breathe in, looking up and lengthening, fingertips on the floor, hands on the shins. Breathing out, placing the hands on the mat, stepping the feet all the way to the back of the mat and just coming into a downward dog. Take a couple of breaths here in downward dog. And then we're just going to flow into a high plank. So we're just going to take our weight and shift it forward as the weight comes over our hands, the spine is straight. And then we lift the hips back up into downward dog. So flowing into our plank, pushing back into downward dog. Flowing into plank, pushing back. Let's do one more, flowing into plank. And then we push back into downward dog. We keep the left foot on the mat and raise the right leg. So we're coming into three-legged dog, keeping the leg nice and straight. If this isn't comfortable for you, you can keep both feet on the ground. So feel the length. So the leg's straight, we're not doing bent leg. The legs nice and straight, stretching to the hips. And then we're going to place the right foot at the front of the mat and come up to stand. So we're going to come into Trikonasana. So the right foot's facing forward, the fingers are extended. We take a nice deep breath in, breathe out, reach forward, really lengthen from the hip bone to the fingertips, and allow the right hand to slide down the inside of the leg, the left hand, the fingertips are pointing up towards the sky. So take a few breaths here as we create space in this pose. So think that the left shoulder, the top shoulder is rolling backwards, the bottom shoulder is rolling under. The spine is nice and straight from the crown of the head to the sit bone. We allow the body to settle in this pose. And then we're going to breathe out into reverse Trikonasana. So keeping the legs straight, slide the left hand down the left leg. The right hand, the palms facing away. So we're creating space at the front body. And then we're going to flow from reverse Trikonasana into extended side angle. So we bend the front knee, the right forearm goes on that thigh, and we reach the left arm up. So we've got a nice straight line from the side. And then from here, we're going to flow back into reverse Trikonasana, straighten the front leg. Left hand slides down, right hand comes away. And then flow back into extended side angle. Flowing into reverse Trikonasana. Flowing back into extended. Flowing into reverse. And then let's stay in extended side angle. Feel the space at the side of the body from the fingertips all the way down to the outside of the ankles. And then from here, we're going to come up, keep the front knee bent, interlock the fingers and just fold forward into Fallen Warrior. And then from here, we're going to come into Warrior One. So we keep the front knee bent, we reach the fingertips up. And then we're going to flow into Fallen Warrior, but just take the arms out to the side. We don't need to interlock them. Coming back up into Warrior One. Flowing into Fallen. Into Warrior One. Flowing into Fallen. Into Warrior One. And then keeping the arms up, turning the toes inwards so we're facing the long edge of the mat. Place the hands on the hips, take a nice deep breath in. Fold forwards. Just letting the head dangle. Holding on to the elbows. Or if the forearms are touching the floor, they can rest on the ground. But allow the back of the legs to lengthen, keep the legs nice and straight. And if the forearms are completely on the ground, you can always place the hands on the mat. But imagine the crown of the head is coming down towards the ground, or creating space in the spine by letting it lengthen. We're breathing here, feeling the release, feeling the space. And then we breathe in, we place the hands on the hips, bending the knees, coming back up to stand. Turning to face the front of the mat. Place the hands back down on the mat, we step back into downward dog. And then we do the other side. So the right foot stays on the mat, we raise the left leg. Keep it nice and straight, lengthen away. And then we place the left foot at the front of the mat. We come up to stand, and we come into Trikonasana on this side. Relax the shoulders down, look down the middle finger of the left hand. Take a nice deep breath in. Breathe out, reach forward, slide the left hand down the left leg, the right hand fingertips pointing up towards the sky. Keeping that left leg nice and straight. And feel we're rotating, feel the top shoulders rolling back, the bottom shoulders rolling under. Create the space. Feel the length from the crown of the head all the way to the sit bones. And then coming into reverse Trikonasana, slide the right hand down the leg, the left hand, the palm faces away. Front leg stays nice and straight. And then come into extended side angle. So bend the left knee, place the forearm on the thigh. Reach the right arm up and over. So we've got that length all the way down the side of the body. And then from here, we're going to flow into our reverse Trikonasana. So straightening the front leg, right hand goes down the back leg, left hand looks away. And then flow it to extended side angle, bending the left knee, forearm on thigh, reaching the right arm up. And then flow into reverse Trikonasana. Flow into extended. And reverse. And extended. And reverse. And then we stay in our extended. And then we come into forward warrior, so keeping the front knee bent, interlock the fingers behind the back, and fold forward on the inside of the left thigh. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then let's come up into warrior one, so keeping that front knee bent, we raise the arms. And then we flow into our fallen without extending the fingers, so keeping the front knee bent. Fold forward, take the arms behind. Breathe in, come back up to warrior. Breathe out and flow. And you might start to feel this in the leg as we keep the knee bent. Breathe in as we come back up. Try to keep the lower body completely still. Breathe out as we flow forward. Breathe in as we come back. One more, breathe out as we flow forward. Breathe in as we come back. And then turn and toes to face along edge of the mat. Extend the arms out to the side. Interlock the fingers, pull the hands away from the bottom. Take a nice deep breath in. Breathe out, fold forward and dangle. Let the head hang. And the hands come over the head as far as is comfortable for your shoulders. So we're releasing into the shoulders, creating space. So the arms are nice and straight. So when we interlock the fingers, we place the hands on the small of the back to interlock the fingers. Then pull the hands away from the bottom. And then we can move the arms. That's perfect. Taking another couple of breaths here. And then releasing the hands onto the hips, bending the knees, slowly coming up to stand and stepping the feet back together at the front of the mat. Just closing the eyes, standing in Tadasana for a moment, feeling grounded. And then let's breathe in, reach up, look up at the hands. Breathing out, hinging forward, eyes look up at the belly button. Breathe in, look forward, feel we're lengthening the spine. Breathing out, stepping back into downward dog. See no chaturangas today, well, very few. And then we're going to raise the right leg again in three-legged dog. And this time we're going to bend the knee. So you're trying to kick the bottom with the right heel to really open up the hip. But again, if this isn't comfortable for you to do so, you can keep both feet on the mat. And then we're going to step the right foot to the front of the mat and we're going to come up into high lunge. So the back heel's lifted. We're going to bend the front knee. And then we're going to take the arms up and we're going to cactus the elbows. So by cactusing the elbows, we take the arms out. So we're really opening the chest. And then from here, we're going to come into a warrior two. So we're going to straighten the legs, place the heel on the mat, extend the arms, and then bend the front knee. And then we're going to flow back into a high lunge. So it's a little bit tricky because we have to keep moving the back foot. So we then straighten the arms, come up onto our toes. And then as we bend the knee, we take the elbows out to the side. And then we straighten the arms and the legs, back heel on the mat, come back into warrior two. Arms up, straighten the legs, come up onto your back toe. And cactus the arms down into our high lunge. And then reach up, back heel on the mat, come back into warrior. And then place the hands on the mat, step that foot back. Raise the left leg, kick the bottom, open the hips. Then place the left foot at the front of the mat, coming up into our high lunge, back heels lifted. Reach the arms up. Bend the front knees, we cactus those arms. And then we straighten the arms and legs, back heel on the mat. Straighten the arms, bend the front knee, come into warrior two. Then coming back up onto our back heel, arms lifted. Cactus the elbows as we come into high lunge, bending the front knee. Then we straighten the legs and the arms, back heel on the mat. Extend the arms, warrior two. Straightening, coming up onto our toes, pivoting. Come back into high lunge, cactusing the arms. Then coming up, heel down, extending the arms, warrior two. And then we place the hands on the mat, we step the foot back, we come back into downward dog. And then we're going to raise the right leg. Step it to the front of the mat. Come back up to standing. We're going to come back into Trikonasana. So take a nice deep breath in. Breathe out, reach forward, slide the right hand on the leg. Left hand, the fingers are pointing up. And then from here, we're going to flow into reverse Trikonasana. And then from here, we're going to flow into stork pose. So coming up to bring our left knee up, and we're balancing on our right leg. And then we can hold onto our left leg, place it on the inside of our right thigh. So we're going to come into tree pose. So either the foot is down by the shin and the hands are here, or the foot comes above the thigh. And I've just remembered why I don't wear these anymore, because they slide. Your foot slides when you do tree pose. There you go. Or the foot's there and the hands are either heart center or reaching up. So find that balance. Balance is also really good for the mind, creating that space. Keep the eyes fixed, find that focal point. Quieten the mind when we balance. And then bringing the hands back to the heart center. Taking the foot to the back of the mat, let's come back into downward dog. Raising the left leg. Bringing the left foot to the front of the mat, we're going to come up into Trikonasana on this side. Nice deep breath in. Breathe out, reach forward, slide the left hand down the leg. The right hand, the fingers are reaching up. And then let's flow into reverse Trikonasana. And then flow into stork pose, raising that right knee. And then come into tree pose, so place the right foot either by the shin or the side of the thigh. Hands either on the heart center or up above the head. Keeping the mind quiet as we find our balance. And then releasing that foot to the back of the mat, placing the hands onto the ground, coming back into downward dog. And then we're going to drop the knees nice and wide onto the mat, place the big toes together. And we're going to sink down into a child's pose. So if you want, you can rest your forehead onto a block, or if you've got a bolster, you can lie on your bolster. Or you can place your head on a cushion or a pillow. But allow yourself to relax into this pose. So say if you don't have a bolster, if you've just got a cushion or a block, you can just allow the forehead to rest on it. Just create some space in the spine and the hips. Allow the belly to sink down towards the mat. Just watch the breath. Just taking another couple of breaths here. And then we're slowly going to release. And we're going to come to sit on our mat. We're going to come and do a supported fish pose. So if you've got a pillow or cushion or a bolster, you're going to have it kind of resting. The crown of the head and the top of the shoulders are going to be resting on it. So we're just going to lean back so that the chest is open, the legs are straight, the toes are together. And the arms are out at the side. Now it's your choice. They can either be straight out to the side, or if you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can have the elbows at a 90 degrees, so you're getting more into the chest. So either the hands are here, or they're just gently opening out to the side. We just want to elevate the chest. So this is kind of a supported fish pose. So find a comfortable position, maybe even putting tops back on again. Feet are together, arms out to the side. So we're opening our heart center in this pose. And we're just allowing the breath to flow. Allowing the mind to watch the breath. Notice how much quieter the breath is now. How much quieter the mind is. And that feeling of calm that envelops us. Watching the rise and fall of the rib cage. We just take another couple of breaths here. And then we're slowly going to release out of the pose, bring the arms down by the side. And just bending the knees, rolling onto one side, just lying in the curled up fetal position for a moment. And then slowly making our way up to sitting. And then we're going to come into seated butterfly or diamond pose. So we're going to place the soles of the feet together. So they're quite a way away from the groin. I normally say kind of elbow to fingertip width away. And we just fold forwards. If you've got a bolster, you might want to rest your head on it, or place it on your feet to allow your hands. Or we can just allow the hands to rest on the sides of the legs and let the head go. So just finding a comfortable position. Relaxing into it. Watching the breath. Allowing the body to unwind. Gently breathing. Just taking another couple of breaths here. And then we're gently going to unwind out of this pose. Maybe giving the knees a little hug. And then we're going to do forward fold, but I'm going to give you a choice. You can do whichever version you want. I'm going to give you 3 choices. Either you can do caterpillar with something underneath your knees and fold forward. You can keep the legs straight and together and fold forward. Or if you want to do wide-legged forward fold and take the legs wide and fold forward, you can do. So you're basically doing a forward fold either with the legs together or wide. And if the hamstrings and lower back are really tight, you can place something under the bolster. So whichever one your body feels it wants, maybe you might kind of go into legs together or legs wide and then go, no, I need one rather than the other. But we're still doing it in a yin style, so it's still very relaxed. We're not grabbing hold of the feet, we're letting go of the head. Maybe resting on a bolster, hugging a bolster. We're just allowing the crown of the head to feel that a magnet's pulling it down towards the ground. Do whichever one your body feels it needs. Settle into it and let go. Let go of the tension in the fingers. We're not holding on to anything. Breathe out all of the tension in the body. and watch the breath. Learn to use our yoga practice as a continuation of our meditation. Taking the opportunity to just watch the breath. To allow it to flow. To allow it to quieten the mind and the body. Just taking another couple of breaths. And then gently unwind. Slowly coming back up to sitting. Giving the knees another little hug. And then we're going to come into a Shavasana. And we're going to do a meditation in our Shavasana. So let's find a nice comfortable position on the mat. You can place a bolster or pillow underneath the knees. Cover yourself with a blanket. Allow the heels to be mat width apart, the toes rolling out. Allow the arms to be down by the side of the body, the palms are face up. And take a few moments to really settle into the pose. Take a few moments to make sure we're nice and warm. To feel that ground is supporting us. To feel completely enveloped. To feel safe. To feel comforted. I'm going to start with a quote from Buddha. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserves your love and affection. So today we're going to do a metta meditation. Metta is a practice in loving kindness. It's said that those who practice metta meditation will have their fears eased and erased, their heart and minds calmed. They will sleep and wake more peacefully and can give and receive love more readily. So the principle of metta is a wish for true happiness for ourselves and everyone, and to respect the life we have already. So find that comfortable position. So listen for the beat of your heart. Have an empathetic awareness. Allow a slow, gentle rhythm to arise of its own accord. Feel the cave of the heart, the spiritual heart. Notice shelter around the heart, the ribs, like palace walls protecting. How does it feel here? Is it vacuous, full, heavy, or weighted? Is it guarded or open? Feel any holding patterns of isolation, grief, or anxiety lift. Within you is the capacity to love that which transcends separation. With love, offer these lines to yourself. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. So we repeat these again to ourselves, offering ourselves these lines. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. Now shift your attention to someone you love, either with you or past. Envisage this person, their clothes, their hair, their smile. Just like you, they want to be loved and to give love. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. Now shift your attention to someone neutral in your life. Maybe a person you pass on the street or someone you meet in the supermarket. Picture this person and you greeting them. Just like you, they want to be loved and to give love. May you be self. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. And if it feels right, bring your attention to someone you've closed your heart to. It could be a significant or a small barrier you have erected. Picture this person and imagine, just like you, they desire love and affection. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be full of ease. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. Just allow that meditation to settle. Allow those thoughts, those emotions to arise and fall. And coming back to the quote from Buddha, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserves your love and affection. And then bringing your awareness back into your mind and into your body. Start wriggling your toes, wriggling your fingers. Gently taking your head from one side to the other. And then one by one, bring the knees up over the chest, giving them a hug. Gently rocking from side to side. And then slowly rolling over onto your right side. Resting there for a moment. And then keeping the eyes closed, coming up to a nice, comfortable seated position. Just taking a few moments to absorb our practice, to absorb that feeling of kindness and love to ourselves. Think about how we can take that with us when we walk away from the mat. And then bringing the hands together in front of the heart center, rubbing the palms together, placing the palms over the eyes, gently opening the eyes, and slowly bringing the hands back down to the heart center. Namaste. And now Sarah is going to read to us another one of her amazing poems. So you can just unmute yourself, Sarah. I shall make you. I shall spotlight you.
Oh my gosh.
There you
right.
go.
They don't call it amazing until you've heard it. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So we're following on really from the previous one. So there are similarities, but in all the things that we've heard about and discussed today, this is very much the one element, shall we say, where I have found that drive and that sense to come back to self with the help of a little friend. So this is called the Canine Cure. I was just about to turn 50 when hubby said to me, "What do you fancy for your birthday, love? How about a nice cruise out at sea?" Well, with menopause advancing like a never-ending fog, a yearning spoke deep in my soul. What I longed for was a dog. He arrived not long afterwards, this canine cure for my brain, a water dog from Portugal, my new rainbow in the rain. Oh, and here he comes. Figo became my sanity. Right on cue, buddy. Figo became my sanity. Figo is a loyal friend. Figo is my therapy when I'm going round the bend. He knows when I'm unhappy, when my mind is in a muddle. He rests a paw upon my knee and leans in for a cuddle. He's in cahoots with hubby to get me up and on the move, spending hours walking cliffs and beach, which really goes to prove that healthy lives are lived with dogs, both physical and mental, especially when your pet's so calm, so gentle. But since then, COVID times have hit, testing all our mental stability. separated from our loved ones in this lockdown irritability. The tennis and the online yoga help to control the returning fog. But there's only really one thing for it. The hunt is on for another puppy dog.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
That's right, pleasure. Here you go.
And I think Sarah did break up a little bit when she did that, but don't worry, she's going to send me the poem now.
It was
so
lovely.
When I send the email out, it will be on there, but thank you.
Oh, look, hello, baby.
And there's Figo.
Yeah, super excited.
Oh,
yeah.
He's a star.
Look,
Oh, brilliant.
Look at you, you're a star.
Oh, no,
So
too busy.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you
for joining this morning. Thank you very much to Susana. That was a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And if anyone's got any other questions, if anyone's watching this on recording and has any questions either for me or Susana, if you email me, then I can pass the questions on to Susana. And then if they're relevant to other people, I will share them out in an email to everyone who's on this thing, or I should just email back the person that's messaged me. So yeah, if anybody has any questions that they think of later on, then please do email and we can pass it on to Susana.
I'd just like to say hello to Jilly, because I haven't seen her for such a long time. So hello, Jilly.
And I'm just going to stop the recording now.